indigenous and Aborigine people, we live according to something called animism. Well, in the Western world, we're taught that there's animate and inanimate, living and non-living. Animism perceives, understands, or believes that there is no non-living. It all lives. Everything. Because it is only part of that which is and always has been. We don't believe that there's literally any time of creation, nor will there be literally any time of destruction. It's all cyclic. It's all cyclic. And so because of that, we're at peace. We have an inner sense of peace and unity with everything. There's no death, there's only change. There's no birth, there's only change. Now, I use physics to try to explain this to the Western world. And there I use the first law of thermodynamics, which says that matter or energy can never be created or destroyed, but only transformed. E equals mc squared. All matter is energy, and all energy is matter. And if neither can be created or destroyed, but only transformed, then when does it cease to be? When did it ever begin to be? In tribal thinking, we see life as a cycle. And that cycle is the experiential cycle of the ancestor. Western culture calls it God. Other cultures call it whatever. But for us, it's the ancestor, because the ancestor never dies. It lives. In fact, I don't exist. The ancestor is what lives. I'm only the messenger. I'm only the carrier of that which has come before me. That's all I am. So therefore, the ego is a necessary part of our being, but it is not a part that identifies our being. That is the lower ego. The higher ego is an ego that is an identity of all beings, without exception. In tribal culture, we have no sense of equality or inequality. There's equanimity, balance, but that encompasses imbalance. You cannot have the light without dark. You cannot have up without down, or right without left, or hot or sweet without cold and sour. It coexists. You cannot have negation without affirmation. Affirmation requires negation, and negation requires affirmation. So what is versus what isn't? The yin and yang, the same. Not the same as same, but the same as sameness. See, this is where we get caught up in thinking that there is a same. Nothing is the same. Nothing is same, but there is sameness. You and I are different as day and night, but the life is one. The consciousness is one. The soul is one. Now, our process of life is to awaken to that. So then the question that follows is, then is there enlightenment? Not in the sense that we generally think of it, but in its true sense of being in the light. Enlightenment is being in the light. Well, all there is light, which is not separate from darkness. So it's nothing to achieve. There's nothing to acquire. There's nothing to accomplish. We are that. The only process is to realize that, to become aware, and then to accept it. To accept it, and then live it. That's the challenge, is to live what we are, to live who and what we are. It's not that we have to become anything. And those that refuse to live or to learn it, those that refuse to be it, they're expendable. As it was once said by a great teacher, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. The other half of what he said was, I'm talking of Malik, El-Shabazz, which is commonly known as Malcolm X. If you are to liberate, you need to educate. So education feeds liberation. But if one chooses and refuses to not be educated, and hence does not accept being liberated, then that person must be eliminated by any means necessary. Now that's hardcore. That sounds cruel, but it's the law of nature. Anything that threatens the survival of the whole is compromising the existence of the whole, and therefore it's expendable. There are two principles that govern the universe: universal law and universal order. Any person, place, or thing that breaks and refuses to abide by universal law, not man law, universal law, is inevitably destroyed by universal order. You want to see verification of this? You want to see the proof of this? Turn on Nature Channel. Turn on National Geographic and watch what the animals do. Watch how nature preserves itself. Then we say, oh, well, yeah, but we're human beings, they're animals. Are we superior? No. No. There is no superior or inferior, except what the ego wants to identify.